Hey guys, it's me, cyoubx, and welcome to the second episode of Real or Fake. This is the series where I tell a story that's either true or completely made up, and it's your job to determine the validity of my story. Before I begin, I want to make a note of my voice. I sound like I'm hitting puberty for a third time, and that's because I was filming the cyoubx tutorial for you guys yesterday, and then earlier today, and I'll probably have to do it a third time tomorrow. So I've almost lost my voice, but it's all for you. So on to the results of the last story, which was about the woman who called me for over half a year. And the vast majority of you said that the story was fake, and most of you said it was fake because it didn't make any sense. And I agree with you, it doesn't make any sense. However, it didn't make sense because the woman's story didn't make any sense, and as you can probably tell by now, that story was actually true. I loved that story because it seemed so unrealistic, and I definitely fooled you guys. As far as why I didn't call her back sooner, I had personal reasons that I'd rather not say, but I couldn't call her back sooner. And, that's what happened. I have blocked her since, and I haven't gotten any more calls from her, which is great. And that's that. So that means cyoubx gets 1 point, and you guys do not get any. Hopefully, after today's story, you guys can redeem yourself and tie it up. So let's go on to the second story. So this story takes place senior year of high school and in gym class. So for senior gym, we have units. So like we had a table tennis unit, which I completely beasted. And then we have a lacrosse unit, gymnastics unit, all of that. Actually, gymnastics was 10th grade. But anyway, yeah, so gym is based on units. But the unit that this story takes place in is biking. And I was really pumped because I like biking and I'm pretty good at it. Not really. We always do these bike trips in neighborhoods and then in parks and bike lanes, obviously. So it was pretty fun. However, one day we went biking, and it was in a neighborhood, and then there was a cul-de-sac, and I was the leader of the group. Probably not the brightest idea, but anyway, I was in front, and then when we got to the end of the cul-de-sac, there was a park that we were supposed to go to, and the park and the cul-de-sac were joined by this really steep curb. It was like one of those 45-degree curbs, and you could do one of two things. You could either hop onto the park, or you could just plow through the curb, and I chose the latter, so that probably wasn't the best idea. So what I actually did was I just went through the curb really, really fast, and I made the curb. That was fine. That wasn't the issue. The issue was I was going so fast that I couldn't make the turn. That was immediately after the curb. So since I couldn't make the turn, I tried to turn a little bit, but it was a really wide turn. And unfortunately, some idiot who designed the park thought it was a good idea to put a sign. It was like a metal sign, one of those really small ones, I think, that said no soliciting or something. Put a sign right there next to the curb. So when I was going really fast, I couldn't make that turn. I saw the sign, and if I went straight, I would have went head first into the sign. My face would have smacked the sign, and it would have been really bad. But obviously, since I have such blazingly fast reflexes, I try to make the turn. But it's a really wide turn, and I almost make it, but I don't. The side of my handlebar actually hits the sign. It just nicks it, but it's enough to make me turn the bike wheel. And, since I was trying to turn it to the right, and the sign was on my left, the bike basically just stops. And I flew off the bike. And, I might be exaggerating here, but I literally did kind of fall off the bike. If you've ever played Happy Wheels before, that's kind of what happened. I didn't fly quite as far, but it was a similar situation. And as I said before, I was the leader of the pack, so everyone was behind me, and when I flew off the bike and hit the ground, first of all, that hurt like crazy. But what hurt even more was everyone else behind me couldn't slow down in time, so they ran me over, and, a couple other people fell as well. And it really hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like getting run over by bikes. But that's what happened. I didn't break any bones, but I got some pretty bad bruises. But I didn't even go to the nurse because I'm just so cool like that. I just got a band-aid and walked it off. The thing I want to say about this story is that none of this was my fault. The first problem was the curb. Why was it at 45 degrees? You're going to want someone, say, in a wheelchair to have access to it, and at 45 degrees, people are going to have a hard time getting into your park. So that was a poor decision. You should have made it a little bit flatter so that I didn't have to plow through it. The second thing that was wrong was, why would you put a sign right next to the curb? Clearly some idiots like myself are going to plow through the curb, and we're going to be hitting that sign. So that was a poor decision. You should have moved that sign back. And the third issue was the bike. Why on earth would you make such long handlebars? My hand did not touch the sign, which means that if the handlebar wasn't so long, I would have been safe. So, you know what? None of this was my fault. It was the curb's fault, it was the sign's fault, and it was the bike's fault. But all jokes aside, it's now your turn to tell me whether or not the story was real. So what you do is you leave a comment, either real or fake. Both words are only 4 letters long. It literally takes you 2 or 3 seconds to leave a comment. So if you could participate in this one, that would be fantastic. We had almost 250 comments on the first episode, so if we can have a similar turnout for the second one, that will be great. And I will tell you the results in the third episode, but before the third episode comes out, I'm probably going to be doing the Yow tutorial, so be excited for that. And yeah, until then, toodles.